Good afternoon, everybody. It's so true what Chrissy said in my introduction. People over the years that I've worked with are scared to death to present. They're experts in their field. They know their information, yet when they have to talk about it, something comes over them. And it's hard to explain. Your physiology reacts. You have a reaction. It brought me back to, believe it or not, when I was in high school and I was taking PE, of all things. I was an excellent student, but we were learning how to play volleyball in PE. I'd never played volleyball. I was a horseback rider, very athletic, rode every day, but I didn't know anything about volleyball. Long story short, I got a D in PE. Who fails PE? And I thought I was pretty good. I'm athletic. I should be able to learn this. This shouldn't be a problem. But I didn't have enough time to practice, and I just failed. I got a D. It was horrible, the only D I ever got. And I think that's how some people feel when they think about presenting. Oh, that shouldn't be a problem. I know what I'm talking about, until you get in that meeting room and you have to run the meeting or you have to present about what you're talking about. Why is it that there's a really, really long list of things that we would rather do besides present in front of other people? Why is that? I'd like to hear from some of you in the room. Maybe we can start over here and go around. I would love to hear what your main concern is about presenting in front of other people. Just quick, one or two words. We'll start over here. I'd just like to hear what your fear is, what your concern is as you get up in front of people.
Just, I think, clarity of speaking, making sense.
Clarity?
Flow of thoughts.
Yes, Adam.
Fear of not being entertaining, especially when it comes to improv.
Yes.
I just, a self-judgment or failure critic. Just really like, I'm not good enough, I'm not, just not good enough.
Will it really add value to my audience?
Similar, resonating with the audience, connecting, helping them.
I worry about forgetting what I'm going to say.
That's
Yes?
Who am I? Why would they listen?
Credibility? Yes.
Some trepidation about what people might think of me.
Impression? Will they like me? Yes?
Being self-conscious.
Self-conscious? You can't spell when you're up in front of a room. That you can't, Sandy?
Just the message, like people won't get me. They'll be like, what the is she talking about?
I'm not going to write that on the board.
No, do it. The coach over here said it was fine.
Did she say coach?
Actually holding their attention while they're trying to check Snapchat every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Speaking clearly or not speaking too fast?
Pacing?
Yes.
I'd like to submit to you that some of these things up here are things that you can control. You can control your pacing, how fast you talk. You can control some of these impressions that you're worried about through your platform skills and how you are up in front of people. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a couple takeaways today that will help you right out of the box if you use these. You know, if you make good eye contact with people, they feel like you know what you're talking about and you have credibility and they're going to listen to you as opposed to look at their phone. So making good eye contact is key, and it's something that you have to practice. I put little smiley faces on my mirror, If there's one thing that you can do well, work on that eye contact. Another thing is clarity. We talked about clarity here in a couple different ways. I hear clarity as far as how you're speaking with your pacing and what you're saying, but I also hear about clarity of your voice. So like we were talking about before, it's important that you realize where you are. Are you in a smaller meeting? Are you talking one-on-one with somebody? Are you doing a webinar and your voice is really all they have? More important that you have good clarity there. Do you have some inflection in your voice as you're talking? Can they hear your expression, not just see it? Because if you're on a webinar, they can't see it. It depends on what your format is. Some of the other fields, connecting and resonating with your audience. How are you involving them? You can involve them with yourself. That's why when you come into a room and you're running a meeting, set it up the way you want it. I did not want a barrier between you and I. That's not the way I work. I love to be involved with my audience when I'm doing a workshop. So I move the tables out. When you walk in for a meeting, if you don't like the way the tables are set up, guess what? It's your meeting. Change it around. Move things around and make it work for you like you would want it to. What other things do we have up here? Self-conscious. All of us are self-conscious. What can you do about that? I'm sorry, Alyssa?
Maybe work on your appearance to be what you would like it to be.
Your appearance. So today, I didn't wear jeans and a t-shirt, for example, because I knew I was presenting and I wanted you to take me seriously. So I dressed appropriately. So that you, when I got up here, did my dress help you pay attention to what I had to say today?
Yes.
It matters. Some people might not think it matters, but it really does matter. So if you want people to take you seriously, think about your environment. Are you dressing for your audience? If I'm in a corporate environment, I'm not going to wear, sneakers, and I'm going to dress appropriately for that environment.
Own your
What-
message. Own your message.
And
You got something to share, a value, and they don't know
Right.
what it is, and they can leave with something good.
And that's a great point, except for if you're so nervous, you can't figure out what your message is. That's why your point was forget what you're going to say. A lot of people forget what they're going to say because they're nervous. And a way to appear like you're not nervous, if you can get those butterflies flying in formation, work on the skills, work on your eye contact, work on landing and standing in a place, work on your voice and your inflection. Your audience will think you know exactly what you're talking about, and you're credible even though you're a nervous wreck. You will not appear that way. You'll just be conscious and credible. I hope those are some good takeaways for today. I do private coaching. If you have an important event coming up, if you've got an important speech coming up, don't let it go to chance. Make sure you understand what you're doing and get your delivery down and practice. That's the thing that I didn't get when I failed PE. I didn't get to practice volleyball. I just had to show up at PE. I had no time to practice and learn how to do it well. And so that's what I offer. Pam Miller. Thanks.
All right, well done. So excellent opening. I liked you just got right to the point. Like, why is it that we're scared of this? And then you got into a story. I wasn't sure what the main message of your story was. It felt like it was a little bit off center, and the transition from the story into the next part, I wasn't sure what was that main message. So it didn't come across clearly there. You had great interaction, and to involve every single person here is a very valuable exercise. And the way you tied it in, everybody had something, and you gave examples and you gave tips on how you can overcome, that particular challenge. So the way you aligned everything was great. You're extremely engaging. You're obviously very confident. You have a very natural presence. You project well, and great body language too. The way you use your hands, your posture. Maybe use the space a little bit more. I know you had the flip chart there, but when you're actually speaking with people, you might want to approach each side of the space a little bit more. So use the space, especially when you have an open space like this.
Right.
Is use it as much as you can. It did feel like you were rushing a little bit at points, and maybe that's just your natural delivery. it's good to slow down and emphasize particular things. Maybe pause, that pregnant pause, it just sort of just lands with people. So just something to think about. Instead of having the exact same pace the whole time, is slow it down and make a point when it's called for. Your structure was good. I like the way you just topic, story, interaction, and even your call to action. You got to that. It's like clearly this is what I do, and if you'd like to know more, this is what you can do. Yeah, so your transitions were good. Great interaction, examples. Yeah, overall I thought you were really excellent. Great speaker.
Thank you.
Excellent.
How long was that, Christy?
It's about 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, I felt like it was longer and probably you heard, I was thinking I'm taking too much time when I was going around, so good point to pause more. Thank you for that.
Fast, how you did that, how you went around like that, that was fast.
That was fast, yeah.
You got everybody in the room really quickly.
Yeah.
What was
It's a
really,
good exercise.
what was really good is you added, you know, we went around the room, but then you added, like, in the moment, you added to those things
Yeah.
to magnify it some more, and you were on top of that. But I also echo, just at points, slow down a little bit.
Good, thanks, I will.
And were you, I heard nervousness, was it, were you nervous? Because I don't
Yeah.
see you
I always
as
get
nervous.
nervous.
Do you really? So I don't see you as nervous, like in our
That's
interactions.
good. I'm
And
trying to
then-
overcome
and I
that
think
with
I was
my
like,
skills.
I never see her nervous, and it just so surprised me when you got up there, and I was like, wow.
Well, each one of these things I do, like the showcase was to try to tell a story and also make a communication point. Today was to just have a general idea of what I wanted to do and go with the flow and the group and how I was doing that. So I didn't have a scripted talk. I had general areas that I wanted to go
Like,
in.
right there, whatever that, like, that right there, no nervousness,
Right.
just the
Natural.
calm, natural, this is what I want to talk about, I'm very clear, I'm like, yeah, that's the Pam that I expected to be,
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
I'll try to
Whatever
keep
that
her in
is.
front more.
Yeah, come on.
Nice.
Yeah, great, thank you.
So, Pam, is it your desire to be both a facilitator, trainer, and then also a speaker or keynoter?
Yeah, I'm just starting that right now.
Okay.
Because I have lived in the training and workshop world and am looking to be a little bit more free form in my presenting. So this was a little trial to try to show value to what I do and then a call to action at the end. And to Eric's point, I don't think my call to action was that strong. Actually, I would like to word it better. See me after the meeting, email me at something more direct, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Or text
Or
X
text.
to whatever this number is.
Present at 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4.
So I want to challenge you. Can I do that? Are you up for that? Okay.
I am.
I would like for you in your next speech to not have it be interactive. And I say this because I'm a trainer, and our defense mechanism is to fall back on audience interaction. If you're keynoting, and I went kicking and screaming down this path. If you're keynoting, you're not going to be able to write all of that down, and you're losing us in the process, right? So I think it took a long time to write down the words in a workshop. If you've got somebody for a couple of hours, that's perfect because they're going to connect with you, you're going to get in your groove, everything's going to work out well. But in a very short speech, it took a lot of time to write on the board the pieces, and it was a risk because everyone bottom line for you, but they could have really moved off on a tangent and taken a lot of time away. So one of the things that I think has been valuable for me in Speaker Lab has been really forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone and do things that I'm not used to doing. So I want to challenge you for the next time. Treat it like a keynote, meaning you're going to interact with us with your words and your eyes and whatnot, but you're not going to look for feedback from us.
Good challenge, I accept.
Okay, yay, I like it. I thought you did a great job. I love the selling from the stage aspect. I think a lot of people really struggle with that. I do think you can tighten that up, but you'll learn that over time. I think that's fine. What you wrote there, you got a foundation for a great speech. I mean, the top 3 changes to make right now before you make your next speech. Done, right? So I think you could do something fun with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thanks.
Do we have time for me, or is there?
Got plenty of time,
Okay.
yeah.
Your story in the beginning about the volleyball analogy, I think you can do it faster, and I think you can do it with less attention on self almost.
Okay.
So I learned that you were a straight A student and you never had a D, and I learned that you ride horses, and pretty soon I start to think, well, she is all that, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, that's not.
But then when you got to the analogy, I understood why, because what you wanted to say is, we have amazing competence, and yet we get into this circumstance.
And like to Eric's point, that transition needs to be there.
Yeah.
Out of, yeah. And maybe a different story, but that's what I have right now with the
Well,
time
I think
that I
there's
took to
always that
prepare.
idea of, we want to hear a personal story because it helps us to connect and we feel you.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it's also cool when somebody pulls a story out of their coaching life. I had a client who the challenge was, and somebody else is the hero in the story rather than yourself, so you can look at those two things.
It's time I put on 2 different color shoes and had to give a big presentation in front of the
No, that's perfect,
C-level
yeah.
executives. That was another one I was going to use, but I couldn't figure out. And
One thing about the clothing too, I would say I was feeling a little bit of tension inside when you were talking about the clothing thing, because I do think we live in this wonderful world of diversity about what authority is. And, you know, especially with millennials they can wear their
Yes.
torn jeans and whatever.
Absolutely.
It's the coolest, you know.
Yep.
So I thought that what you might could do with that is turn it a little bit to say, wear something that gives you a sense of authority.
yeah.
So then you don't have to
Not
write
use
an external
specific
judgment.
examples.
That's
Right.
great. So
That's
I wore my
great
favorite
feedback.
skirt today because I feel like
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing when I'm wearing this.
Yeah.
That's great feedback. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just piggybacking on what Melissa said, I thought the story you had at the beginning was good, but I didn't think it was as compelling as it could be. I felt like you want us to feel the pain. And I felt like we only felt your pain a little bit, but we didn't feel it. So getting to the point where if you're going to use a story like that, to try to get each one of us to say, you know, God, I feel uncomfortable just thinking about that scenario. If you can get that
Okay.
out of us, then that takes the analogy, and it also helps. So I love the way you tied back in at the end and kind of bookended it, so that goes back to that pain point and say, yeah, I don't have to have that kind of pain.
Okay. Good, thank you.
You could talk about the ball that you hit when you knocked somebody right in the face or.
Thank you. Good job. Good job. So clear. Your articulation is great. Your volume was great. You were steady. Smiling. Love it. I'm always coming at it from a presentational point of view. I did see nervousness. Good job, because you're going to get nervous every single time, no matter how good you get. So
That's right.
excellent. That means you're in the game. That means you don't think you've aced
I
it.
care. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. As far as, I love this story, you know, that statistic that people would rather be in the coffin than on the platform. And there might be another way to say that is more catchy and more alarming. Instead of explaining it all, you know, so there's just going to be other ways. So I would say just go back to that a little bit and say, you know, when you think about dying, you know, or whatever it is, so that people are like, oh my gosh, that's right, yeah, I'd much rather, you know, so people can be in that story. And then as far as the nervousness goes, so like doing Shakespeare auditions, using that weird language, right?
Yeah.
I would write everything out in a monologue in my own words, or I would do it with an accent, an Irish accent, or I would do it while I was running in plays, right? So all of those things, they get you off your message and they put the nerves and the things into a different direction. So there's exercises you can do just for the nervous part of it. And I would say, I want you to talk to your best friend. So when you're doing this whole thing, instead of being a presenter, just be our friend.
Okay.
Let's be on a team together. Let's do team building. So if somehow you can actually sit down with one of your friends and do this and let them interrupt you, well, what do you mean by that? And hey, how did you feel when that happened? Like literally have a
It
friend.
takes me out of my.
Have a friend sit you down and ask you all sorts of weird questions in between and get you off your platform.
Okay.
Right? Because you're our friend. We want to just hang out with you.
Okay.
And I think that will, you're lovely. So why not let us just come right into your inner circle? So So those are some things that I thought of, but thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anybody else? All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks everyone.
Pam.